Welcome back. In the last section, we talked about isometric drawing, and in this section, we're going to be talking about perspective drawing. Now, there's a lot of similarities between these two types of drawing. And I started with the isometric drawing because I think it's easier to wrap your head around it if you're brand new to drawing something isometrically. But the principles here are pretty much the same, so let's jump into it. In the upper left-hand corner of our canvas is a wrench. I'm going to go ahead and tap on that, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on canvas, and the first thing I see is drawing guide. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle on my drawing guide. You should know it's on because you're going to see the grid appear on your canvas. And I'm going to need to edit my drawing guide. So I'm going to tap edit my drawing guide, and here we see our 2D grid, isometric, perspective, symmetry all along the top. You guessed it, we need perspective, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. Now, unlike the other grids, this time we need to add a vanishing point. So let's talk about perspective a little bit. I'm going to tap anywhere on here and I'm going to create my perspective point. You can see it appear. And of course, from here, I can grab this and I can tilt it any way I want. I'm going to undo that, or I can grab the other blue dot and I can move this perspective point pretty much anywhere I want. I can even move it off the canvas if I want to, which isn't a bad idea. But for now, that looks good. Down along the bottom, I'm going to tap on assisted drawing to turn on my assisted drawing. That means all of the lines I laid down are going to stick to this grid. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap on done so we can go out and see what we've got. So how is perspective drawing different than isometric drawing? Well, here I'm just going to draw a square just like that because my assisted drawing is on. It's really easy to do that. In an isometric drawing, it would be skewed, but in perspective drawing, if I wanted to draw the side of the square, like the left side of it, all of my lines are going to go down towards that vanishing point. You see what that line just did? I'll do the same thing on the bottom. I'll draw that just like that. And of course, with this grid on, I can draw straight up and down, horizontal and vertical lines, just like that. So if I want to, I can draw squares all over this canvas. I can kind of go crazy with it. And my lines are just going to snap to place. I could draw a square way up here. It doesn't even have to be square. Let's make it really tall. Let's make it a tall rectangle like that. And then this bottom is going to go to that disappearing horizon point. And then this line is going to do the same thing. I made that almost center. That's not kind of what I had in mind, but let's draw one more square up here to show what happens, because you can have three sides to your square as well when you're using this kind of perspective guide. So I have one line here going down towards my vanishing point. I've got one line over here going to my vanishing point, and then up top, I have another line right there. And I can draw that line, and I can draw that line, and you can see how that works. So in a nutshell, that's how 3D perspective grids work. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to toggle that layer off because there's more. I'm going to click on that wrench again. I'm going to hit edit drawing guide again. And this time I'm going to move that vanishing point off my canvas a little bit. And I'm going to tap anywhere to create a second point. And I'm actually going to drag that one off the canvas as well. And you can see just looking at the grid that you're getting this 3D plane. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. Now this works very similarly to our isometric grid. In fact, if I look along the top and I just draw, oops, my assisted drawing is off. I'm going to undo that line. I'm going to tap on my layers. Going to tap on that layer again. Make sure that drawing assist is activated. It says assisted. I'm good. Okay, now I can draw my square. Now, when I was drawing isometric, I did this. I just drew along the grid lines that I saw there, and I'm going to do the same exact thing here. I'm going to draw along those grid lines. So instead of using the isometric grid, I am now using the perspective grid to do the same thing. And now I can draw a line going straight down to maybe about there. Another line to about the same place. And this time, I'm using this bottom perspective grid to do roughly the same thing. And then I will draw a line here. And I don't need the lines behind anymore. Oops. You got to turn off drawing assist before you erase. I'm going to keep making that mistake and doing it on purpose. I'm not doing it on purpose. So, yeah, I'm going to erase this stuff. There we go. We're almost done here. Yeah, but now that those lines are erased, we can see we've got a 3D box going on here. So just like the isometric, I can go in here I'm going to turn assist back on. Drawing assist. There we go. And I could come in here and I could make a second building if I so desired, or a second block. Maybe make it smaller than the first. There we go. And then I'm going to turn drawing assist off so I can use my eraser now a little easier. And of course I don't need the line of the block behind this one, so it makes it really easy for me to come in here and erase that. But of course I need a line showing the edge of my new block, so I'm going to turn drawing assist back on. I'm going to grab that brush. I'm just going to draw a line there. And if we continued our street scene, what would we do? Well, let's draw where our sidewalk is. Let's draw where our street is. Let's add dashed lines in the middle of the street. So we're recreating the same scene we had last time, but this time we're doing it on a perspective grid. I'm going to zoom in. Let's create a little door here. There we go. Put that there. Maybe it's a two-part door because this is a shopping center or something. We could put some windows here, just like that, and everything follows our nice perspective grid, so you can see it all coming together. I'll add some window lines, I guess. So if I wanted to, I could go through this entire thing and build out all sorts of windows and add all sorts of doors and get really detailed. This is how people draw in perspective. So what about triangles and circles? We've gone over how to do squares, and we know how to do triangles and circles in isometric mode. How are we going to do it here? Well, the good news is triangles aren't really all that difficult. So starting with a blank canvas, we have everything turned on, same way we had it before. And now I'm just going to draw the base of my house like I would anything else. Gonna have a line going up to about there. That looks good. Gonna have this line come down, have that line go up, have this line go up. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of erasing, but that's okay. There we go, that looks pretty good. Now, just like before, the key is finding that center point and drawing a line up to where the top of that roof is going to be. And like before, if we want the roof to overlap a little bit, we can do that. We could just draw out the edges a little bit more on the sides of that house. And then from there, it's just a matter of turning off our drawing assist and drawing the lines. But before I do that, actually, I'm gonna go to the back of the house. And how many bricks over does this go? I'm going to draw a quick line here and a quick line there so I can get a feel for this. Now the center of the back of our house is right about there. And I'm going to draw the top of the roof line really quick just so I have it in here. Now I'm going to turn off draw assist. And now it's just a matter of, I'm going to draw a line, wait for it to snap to quick line, draw it to the edge like that. It doesn't quite line up, but that's okay. I'm going to go forward with it. Going to do it again, snap to quick line. There we go. And then the back of the house is the same thing. Draw a line, snap to quick line, drag that over there. Now, of course, I have to go in and I have to do an awful lot of erasing. Because all my guidelines are in here, you can clean this up while I'm here. I'm going to get rid of those inside lines as long as I'm here. Clean this up a little bit. But that's how you do a triangle. So it's not that different than what we did in the last section with isometric drawing. This roof line is off. Might as well fix that while I'm erasing things. Erasing sometimes takes time. There we go, that's all erased. So now I'm just going to snap that to a quick line, draw that to the edge. And now we have the basic outline of our house with our triangular roof. Circles are more complicated. And so to do that, I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to go back to our 2D grid to show you some stuff first. Edit drawing guide, 2D grid, that looks good. Assisted drawing on, cool. So if we are drawing a circle, I'm going to start by putting our circle in a square. Very similar to what we did with the isometrics. And the reason I'm doing this with 2D is because it's good to know where our circle points are. One, the top of the circle is going to hit here, the bottom of the circle is going to hit here, the sides are going to hit here. The reason I'm doing this with perspective is because there is a more complicated way to draw a circle than just guessing what that arc is going to be. I'm going to start by putting our circle in a square. Very similar to what we did with the isometrics, and the reason I'm doing this with 2D is because it's good to know where our circle points are. One, the top of the circle is going to hit here, the bottom of the circle is going to hit here, the sides are going to hit here. The reason I'm doing this with perspective is because there is a more complicated way to draw a circle than just guessing what that arc is going to be. And there's a technique that cuts a circle into thirds. So I'm going to draw my half lines, and then we want to find the third of a way. Then we want to find the third points. And I just kind of am guessing here. That looks about right. So I'm going to draw a line there. I'm going to draw a line there. If you wanted to get super accurate with it, you could. I'm just trying to get a sense of where these lines should go. So that looks about right to me. And then, of course, I have to do it on this side as well. Maybe put a line there and there, put another line there and there. So I'll just draw my lines here and here. Nope, got to go over with this one. That looks much better. Get a line there and get a line there. That's not close enough. Move that over. So I want it to be semi-accurate. So there's my square. It's subdivided the way I need it. Why am I doing all of this work? Well, it's the best way to go about getting a perfect circle. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm actually going to turn down the opacity on my previous layer, and I'm going to use another color just so it's easy to see. So like I said, the circle needs to hit here. The circle needs to hit here as well. It needs to hit the top. It needs to hit the side. So now I'm going to draw in the other points on the rest of the grid. There's a point that goes right about there, and then there's 2 points that go right here and right here. You see that? I'm going to get rid of that arrow, and another point that goes there. So this becomes the basic arch of our circle. Whoops, that snapped to a quick line. This becomes the basic arch of our circle. Like that. So I'm going to go around and put a dot everywhere where I need it. And another dot here, another dot here, another dot here, 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 and these guidelines help me. So the more accurate my guidelines are, the more accurate my circle is going to be. Oops, that dot's in the wrong place. There and there. So let's see what happens. I'm going to draw my arc, and I'm going to try to hit all of these lines. And this is one of those things, like everything else with illustration and drawing, it just takes a ton of practice to start to feel comfortable doing this sort of stuff. But these kind of guides will help you on your way. This is a messy, messy circle, but I'm going with it anyway. So why am I doing all of this? Why am I putting this on a grid? Because this is really going to help us when we jump back to our 2-point perspective. So let's do that. I'm going to turn off these layers. Let's create a new layer. Let's go up to our wrench. Let's hit edit drawing guide. Let's go back to perspective. Let's draw a circle. First things first, I'm going to move these points down a little bit so it's easier for me. There we go. I'm going to go to my layers, make sure that drawing assist is turned on, because that's going to make life easier. Then I'm going to go up 3 boxes and down 3 boxes, down 3 boxes that way, and over that way. Now the middle point is about here, so I'm going to go ahead, draw a line there. My other middle point is about there, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my other line there. Then my other points are about, I'm going to guesstimate right about there and there. So let's see how that looks when I draw that. Get all these lines in here. And obviously I'm not being 100% accurate, but I'm trying to be decent. Trying to find these spots. All right, that looks decent. Let's draw some lines in here, in here, in here, and here. So now we have a better grid. So now what do? Let's draw out all our points. We get point down at the bottom. Let me turn my assisted grid off first. Let's change this to a green or some other color we're going to definitely see. Our middle points right there, there, and there. Then we go up a little here. Get a dot here and here. Over here. I'm just going to go around the circle. I'm going to make sure I hit all of my dot points along the lines there. There we go. And the more you do this, the faster you get at it. Gonna create a new layer. Gonna grab a different color. Let's go back to blue again. get my brush. Let's make it bigger. Let's do this. Let's take this brush and I'm just going to slowly try to hit all those points. Spin this around a little bit. That doesn't look good. There we go. Here we go around the circle. This takes practice, and I'm going to be honest, I need more practice doing this. But that's the general idea of how you go about drawing something like this. Anyway, I'm not going to draw the entire thing out, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how you'd go about drawing a circle in perspective.